knock it down to, category and go from there.
For the end of the year.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening and welcome everyone to the Monroe Town Board meeting of Monday, December 9th, 2019. There's two exits behind you, one behind us, to our left, your right. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Good evening. Okay. Councilman McGinn will be a tad bit late, so what I would like to do is handle the announcements first, the community announcements, which is item number 3. So the first item which we have spoken about is the stocking stuffers for troops, which we were given a presentation on at the November 25th meeting. We have locations not only in Town Hall, but over here at the Senior Center. So if everyone would like to anyone would like to participate, if you wanted to drop off some of the needs for the troops overseas, it would be greatly appreciated. The items need to be travel size to fit in a stocking, and it ranges anywhere from socks, deodorant, liquid body wash, foot powder, Q-tips, baby wipes, all the way down to seasonings such as Tabasco, hot sauces, packets of powdered drink, instant coffee, hot chocolate, Lifesavers, chewy gum, throat lozenges, cough drops, etc. So at both locations there is a copy of the flyer. If anyone wants a copy, I'd be happy to give them mine. Next is Santa's Toy Box, and that is also a collection site, is also Town Hall, and that's the annual tour drive for the children of Orange County, sponsored by Orange County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation. There's the Monbassia Fire Company Christmas Tree Sale Fundraiser. That's being held at Monbassia Firehouse on 17M, across from the captain's table. As long as there's trees available, they'll be sold through Christmas Eve, and the following hours are when they're open: Thursday 5 to 8, Fridays 5 to 9, Saturdays 10 to 8, and Sundays 9 to 5. There is a pancake breakfast at Harriman Engine Company, and that's being held on December 15th from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. And they'll be having a pancake breakfast with pictures with Santa. We went to their last one, and it was a fun time. They got a nice commercial kitchen there, so everything is great. Finally, on the announcement schedule, I'd like to get everyone as best they can to sign up for Constant Contact. Constant Contact is a way that we keep in touch with our residents, and it's very simple. All you have to do is go on the town's website. On the right-hand side, there are green rectangular boxes. Scroll down to Constant Contact, click on it, enter your email and your information, and you will be provided with every announcement that we have and anything associated with the town. Both the Village of Harriman and the Village of Monroe, we also send out via email. So it's a great way to keep in touch and know what's going on in town. Okay. So we'll foray back to the public hearing now that the announcements are done.
Motion.
I need a motion. Did I make a motion to open the town board?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye. McGinn, aye.
So moved. Item 2.1, we need a motion to open the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed amendment of Chapter 57 of the Town Code.
I'll make that motion.
Cologne, a second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, I
Okay, so moved. Councilman McGinn?
okay. Do you want to see if there's any public comment first, or
Yeah, sure. Yep.
all right?
Anybody sign up?
Ward Brower?
Private citizen, I just don't know what our status is making. It's been on a long time on that agenda. And before we get to that, after reading the photo news and seeing what's happening in Chester, and where the governor and the attorney general actually in effect calls that community anti-Semitic because they're only concerned about, most of them, believe me, there are probably some anti-Semites, there are no question about it. But most of them are not. They're just concerned about their lives, running out of water, running out of food. So to avoid that, especially, you really need, because we're sort of setting that same trap.
Listen, Ward, if you're gonna get back and forth with what we're doing here, that's farthest thing from the case. We're not setting that trend. If you wanna talk about Chapter 57.
Well, we are, in a way, because we're not addressing the count, how do you do occupancy versus bedroom count. The bedroom count, you get these numbers that are meaningless, and then when the infrastructure doesn't support that, then you get called into court for being anti-Semitic because you try to update your infrastructure. I'm just saying, you need an accurate count. A bedroom count, first of all, it's time consuming, it's hard to measure, it's expensive, and it invites lawsuits. And your infrastructure is based on that count, everything. That whole secret process. That's what I'm saying. And as far as being lost, my proposal is you let the developer state how many people he wants in that building. Then who's he going to sue? Himself? You know? And it makes the engineering so much simpler because once you have a number, a definitive number, then the engineers can do the calculation, tell you what's your infrastructure. Just makes it a whole lot simpler, takes out that guesswork. Because this multiplier is guesswork. And it doesn't work too well. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ward.
Anybody
That's all
else,
that's
Val,
signed
or-
up. Nope, that's it.
All right, just before, I have a resolution for the, if you remember at the last meeting, when we had the public hearing open on, Chapter 57 for the CCR, we discussed, the scoping, which had been conducted, in the months prior to that, and the, town planner had submitted the scoping, his scoping findings to us, and we just wanted to take another 2 weeks, make sure everyone on the board had a chance to read it. And we have, so I have the resolution to accept the scoping findings from the town planner. Just to kind of, all the other stuff, I'm not even going to address because it probably wouldn't be in our best interest to do so. The legal matters are going on in Chester and elsewhere. But I can tell you that what happens now with the Chapter 57, the CCR, is that from here it goes, once we accept this tonight, assuming the board accepts it tonight, once we accept it tonight, then the next thing will be the DGIS, which will be sometime in January into February, and then from that the FEIS and so forth. So we're moving along with that. I just basically the timelines are what they are with it as far as what you have to do with it. So just that's where we are with that. So no problem. So as far as the resolution, I guess we'll, council, I guess I can go ahead with this right now. All right, so I'm not going to read the whereases, although the whereases are incorporated therein. So the last whereas is whereas the town planner has prepared and submitted a final, on November 25th, 2019, the final scoping document to the town board outlining the scope of the proposed draft generic Environmental Impact Statement, DGIS, pertaining to the CCR zone amendments. Now, therefore, be resolved that all whereas clauses are hereby incorporated by reference as set forth in full herein. Section 2, pursuant to the provisions of SEQA, the town board hereby adopts the final scoping document dated November 25th, 2019, entitled Final Scope for Preparation of the DGEIS for the proposed Conservation Cluster Residential Floating Zone, as the final scoping document for the preparation of such draft generic environmental impact statements for the CCR zone amendments. Section 3, the town board directs the town clerk and any other official or employee as directed by the town supervisor to file, distribute, and publish the final scoping document in accordance with the requirements of 6 New York CCR 617. Section 4, the resolution shall be effective immediately. And the question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on roll call, which resulted as follows.
So you're making that motion?
I will make that motion. I don't have a resolution number here. Val, do you have a resolution number? No. All right. So the resolution number has to be determined by
Town clerk.
town clerk? Okay, thank you. Yes, so I'll make a resolution that we accept the final scoping document in accordance with the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, secret for the proposed amendments to the Chapter 57, proposed conservation cluster residential floating zone.
I'll second for discussion.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have some documents and I gave them out to the board members and council tonight. One was from Jay Beaumont, a letter written to Jay Beaumont from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and it was in regards to sewer. So that's in the packet. And the other one was from the Department of Health, from
John Petronella.
no, Brock Rogers to Mr. Shortell. It does talk about bedroom count and talks about a multiplier effect. So I just want to be sure that our planner includes references from these two departments to be sure that the scope is, well, when they do the DGIS and the final environmental impact statement, that we have some hard facts from these two government agencies to substantiate what we're talking about, and we have water and sewer.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that these still can be incorporated into the DGIS and of course the FEIS or be used while he's drafting that. I know we closed the written comment on it back on November
25th.
No, I think the public comment was closed before the 25th. I think or written comment was closed before then. So it wouldn't be included in the scoping document, but it'll be included in the the DGIS.
Because the village was concerned that we would have some hard facts from agencies. It's not all based on just what the planner is assuming.
Right.
So that's why I want to make sure that our planner, Max, has
Sure.
these two agencies that he could reach out to.
Yep, absolutely. And
Sounds like a good
the
idea.
planner, as you know from reading the scoping document, so the village of Monroe did retain its own planner to review the CCR and his or that firm's concerns were addressed in the scoping document. So.
Anything else? All right, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. What would be the flavor of the board with respect to keeping open the continuation of the public hearing?
Make a motion that we keep it open.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on that? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Next up,
Just, Mr. Supervisor, we gotta set a date and time, so for the first meeting in January, which I believe is the 8th,
no, but that's reorg, so it's gonna be the 22nd.
I'll be the 22nd, okay. So it'll be the 22nd at 7 o'clock? Okay.
Okay.
Amend the motion and,
Add that to the motion,
Yep.
and we'll re-vote it.
I'll
Call the
second
question.
that.
Second that by Councilwoman Bingham. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
again, aye.
Okay, so moved. I'll make a motion to open the continuation of public hearing for proposed changes to Article 14, the Town of Monroe zoning local law.
I'll second that motion.
Any public speakers?
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. Again, contact this morning with a couple of my neighbors who were here in the past months. They just want to know when are they going to get a grandfather clause. They're saying, you know, we were promised months ago, and this was first introduced back in June, I believe. So it's half a year. Just want to know what the time frame is. Thank you.
That's all that signed up.
Okay.
You want to comment on it?
Yeah, we'll hopefully be taking that up on the 22nd as well. So that's the plan.
Anyone else?
No.
So I'll make a motion to keep open the continuation of public hearing for proposed changes to Article 14 of the Town of Monroe zoning local law
Until January
until
26th.
January 22nd
Thank you.
at 7:05.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay. After having some conversation with our law firm this afternoon, items 2.5 and 2.6, I'm sorry, 2.5 and 6 and 7 and 2.8 should be merged. There was some discrepancy there, so it's essentially all under local law amendment to amend Article 3, Chapter 51 of the Town Code. So I'd like to make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing for proposed introductory local law 8, amending Article 3, Chapter 51 of the Town Code, which will include overweight vehicles and trucks and buses exclusions. And this is for Lake Region Boulevard and School Road.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yeah.
would that include 2.9 as well?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Well, yeah, that's the
Yeah, that was,
continuation of, yeah.
yeah, okay. I'll second that.
Second?
Cologne, the second.
Cologne, second.
It's Lake Region and School.
Lake
Yes.
Region and School.
Yeah.
Call question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay. So, our Highway Superintendent, John Cherney, apologies for not being here this evening. He had a fire district meeting and some training, I believe. So, his thought process here is that School Road is a heavily traveled road. It was just redone, as was Lake Region. And he would like a weight limitation placed on that road, and that will be excluding trucks and buses for obvious reasons. So, Council, do you have the actual, is it an 11-ton weight limit?
I don't have it. Take a second.
What?
I know we discussed the weight though.
Yeah.
Probably bring it up in board docs if we,
Right.
That's 18,000 pounds.
To a max of 18? Except for local deliveries?
So 9 tons.
18,000.
No.
Yeah, it's Town Code, Section
It's more than
51-6.
that.
It's listed in there.
And what does it say?
So
It
we-
says
we-
trucks
we
and
would fall
buses
into
having a
local
gross
delivery.
weight in excess of 18,000 pounds shall hereafter be prohibited from using the following streets at the locations indicated.
Okay. Okay, so we're looking at a 9-ton or 18,000-pound weight limit for those two roads, with the exclusion of
Local.
local delivery trucks and buses. Any other comments? Anyone from the public want to comment?
Ward Brower. Supervisor, this is the two combined that I have?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, Ward, I have you signed up and Mr. Trotter.
Since you've lumped them all together, it's a little confusing. Ward Brower, private citizen. Again, I was confused by why we had two separate codes, apparently trying to do the same thing.
Yes,
And the other thing Tony, I think you clarified.
Yeah.
And that is accept local deliveries.
Correct.
And I guess picking up the garbage we consider local delivery because those guys exceed that, they're almost 80,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah, those are big trucks.
I think that's what.
Yep.
Yeah, it's,
thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Supervisor, do you want me to read where Ward's concern is addressed? It is in the code. It's 51-7. This prohibition shall not apply to commercial vehicles making house deliveries to residents along said roads, school buses, municipally operated vehicles and/or public utility vehicles.
Okay,
So it's covered.
So the slopes are.
thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Trotter?
Yes, yes. And salami.
Yes, good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Village of Curious Joel, and the village just has some concerns about the law. We'd just like to see a copy of it. And you've identified the roads now for us, which is very helpful. So if we could see a copy of the proposed law, we'd like to have an ability to comment if we think it
You
needs.
can actually go online.
Is the draft of the proposed law online?
No, that's actually the local law. We're just amending the roads.
We're adding two more roads.
We're adding two more roads.
More roads.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
everything's online.
Everything's online.
Fine. Then
I think the concern was Seven Springs, and
that was a concern.
I think that's a discussion we need to have
Understood.
because of the excess construction traffic that's coming out onto 208. And these are citizens' concerns that complaints that we've gotten. So I think that's just a conversation we have to have with
Understood.
the village to kind of rein some of that in or redirect it to other areas or other
I would
roads.
appreciate having that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I'll
We'll figure that
I'll
out.
check the law, and I appreciate the references. Thank you.
All right, you might as well stay right there.
Don't move.
Don't move. You're up next. Okay, so, continuation, or we're gonna close that public hearing? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing
Second.
for the proposed amendments to Chapter 51 of the Town Code regarding overweight vehicles, trucks, and bus exclusions on School Road and Lake Region Boulevard.
Will we accept written submissions?
Council, I mean,
No?
is it necessary that we accept written submissions, or,
I'm just suggesting it. That's
what's
all.
that?
Sure.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. Are we closing tonight?
yeah, we'll close it. That's what I'm making a
So then
motion
we don't
for.
need it then.
Okay,
Supervisor,
yes.
just to clarify, in the beginning, you combined the trucks and buses and overweight vehicles, so is that whole
Yes,
public hearing closed?
yes, the
Okay.
whole public hearing is closed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
McKenna,
Okay, so moved. Okay, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing regarding Old Country Road Water District.
I'll
Second.
Second by Councilman
Sankarello.
Scangarello. He beat you.
Scancarello.
Yeah, he beat it by a half second. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
McKenna,
Okay. Mr. Potter.
Thank you. Good evening again. Howard Trotter on behalf of the Village of Curious Joel. A number of questions arose at the public hearing on November 25th, and as requested by the town, we'd like to respond to those. And I'm going to go through them in what I believe was the order in which they were raised. Number one, the town raised concerns seeking some sort of compensation for the property owners who have suffered as a result of the use of their wells, of the loss of the use of their wells. The village proposes that any single-family residential property whose well has failed will be connected to the village water main at no cost and will receive free water for 2 years. If a single-family residential property owner does not want to connect now because they have a functioning well, but that well fails in the future, the village will connect that single-family residential property to the village mains at no cost, and that single-family property owner at that time will receive free water for 2 years. Those properties that have water but want to connect within 6 months of the district formation, the village will connect them to the village water main at no cost to the property owner, but the village will not provide them with free water. Number 2, the town raised concerns regarding connection fees when there are additions to existing properties. The village proposes that there will be a new fee payable where, 1, there is a conversion of a single-family residence to a 2 or more family residence. 2, there is an increase in the footprint of the single-family residence by more than 10%. 3, there is an increase of 2 or more bedrooms. And 4, there is a change to a non-residential use. Number 3, the town asked if the village could do something to speed up the installation of the main and connection of the current homes without water. No one should be without water. The village has contacted the owner of number 24 to provide that property with water immediately. Those conversations are still ongoing. The Department of Health has provided comments on the submission of our plans and specifications of the proposed mains, and we're in process of addressing those concerns. We're working with the Department of Health to get their approval. They're somewhat hung up on the hydrants, okay, which we propose that they be functioning fire protection hydrants. At some point, we may have to say that there'll only be blow-offs if it's going to delay it too long. Okay, but our intent has been and remains to make them fully functional fire protecting hydrants. The construction schedule identified in the contract allows for 30 days for completion. That's an aggressive schedule because this will be winter time. However, the construction will still be expedited to the greatest extent possible. The pre-bid meeting with potential contractors was held on the 6th. The due date for the bids is the 16th. So we're anticipating moving rather quickly. The town asked when numbers 46 and 55 were connected to the village water system. Those properties were previously connected pursuant to agreements with the village. The agreement with one of those properties was in exchange for an easement to cross their property with the water main. The other was pursuant to an agreement that contemplated the property will be in the district when the district's formed. Both properties are proposed to be in the proposed district. When the district is formed, they will be paying the same out-of-district rates as everybody else in the district. The town asked about the police barracks. That property is owned by the town of Monroe. And pursuant to an agreement between the communities, when the village needed to cross Larkin Drive and obtain that easement from that other property owner, it also needed to obtain an easement from the town for this, to cross the state police barracks property. Pursuant to that agreement, the village agreed to provide the town with water service for that facility. The town asked if existing private wells can continue to be used. Upon completion, upon connection to the village water main, the private wells are going to be required to be physically and permanently disconnected to avoid the potential for cross-contamination with the village public water supply. The physical and permanent disconnection will involve the removal of a section of pipe and the power supply, between the private well and the residence. Number 7. The town and Mrs. Dixler, house number 45, asked about who pays for the work to disconnect the private wells. The village will pay to physically disconnect the existing wells to render them inoperable. There was some discussion by the town board regarding rates charged for the water service. Residential customers in the village pay $3.75 per 1,000 gallons. Their rates are lower than that proposed for the out-of-village customers because the actual cost to deliver water is greater than that provided by the rates. The village residents pay taxes, and a portion of those taxes pays for much of the administrative costs and overhead for operating the water system. Property owners in this proposed district will not pay village taxes. So there is an adjustment in rates to try to reflect that shortfall and to more closely approximate the actual costs for the delivery of water supply. That is a very typical arrangement in villages throughout the county and throughout the state when they're providing water outside of their boundaries. Typically, locally, we have this case of Village of Monroe, Harriman, Cornwall, Hudson, Goshen, etc. They all charge a higher premium because if they borrow money for the water system, it's the full faith and credit of the village property owners that are pledged. And there's a lot of other administrative costs such as that are not covered by rates.
What is that rate?
6.
6?
The village cannot guarantee that rates will never go up. The water rates may go up over time. All costs go up. However, the cost to out-of-village users will only go up proportionally with increases in rates to the village residents. Rates to the district will not go up separately from those charged to the village residents. Lastly, I've been in communication with your council regarding the IMA. I'm told that your council is drafting it, and I'm awaiting to receive that. I'm happy to take any other questions you may have.
Just so, you had made reference to the fact that we were concerned about the water rates. I don't think it was us more than it was one of the residents that was there.
That may be.
Yeah.
I know there was some discussion among the board members, though,
Yeah.
which spoke to maybe the Public Service Commission having some involvement, and that's not actually accurate. The Public Service Commission doesn't regulate the rates for municipal water supplies.
Right, it's
Okay.
electricity and, gas.
So, my question, and maybe you can clarify this, only because I have not seen it, I have just heard, the bid that went out for the, for doing this work only included the main, did not include any laterals or curb valves. And I just don't understand why you would just put a main in. In fact, one of the potential bidders actually said to me, I actually thought there was a page missing in it because it doesn't make sense just to put a main in. Because here's what's going to happen, and I've already spoken to our highway super on it. Now you're going to be digging up the road every time you need to put a curb valve or a lateral in. And
This is news to me.
okay.
I will find out.
Can you
It was news to us too.
Yes,
Yeah, and I just found this out yesterday, so I didn't even tell any of the board members.
I will find out.
All right,
We
all
don't
right,
build them, we just.
I understand completely.
that's fine. Anybody else?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have a question.
after you, Mary, please. Councilwoman
Go
Bingham.
back to the state trooper barracks.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask about,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So they have an easement. There's a separate IMA?
I don't believe it was ever
No.
written
No.
down.
No
No.
IMA whatsoever. It was
So-
a handshake agreement.
It was a
So
handshake.
will they be in this water district as
No.
well? No.
No, they're separate.
They're
They will
separate.
be separate?
They've been separate. They will continue to be separate.
So that's kind of my
But we can provide, and
We could clarify it.
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, because
We're happy
here's
to have,
my,
but I don't even know if there's a written easement.
No, there's not,
there's
because I
nothing.
researched it.
So when you said as per agreement, I was like, I'd love to see that agreement because we couldn't find it. But it is a handshake agreement, I'm sure,
Right.
like a lot of things were back in the day. But I guess what our concern is, and what Councilwoman Bingham is probably getting to as well, is if it's not in a district, and the concerns we hear from our renters or the New York State Police is, if they were in a district, we know there would be testing, they would get water quality results and things like that. And they don't get that. You know what I mean? And we would like them to, we would like to know that, just like a regular water district, what the water quality tests come
Absolutely.
back on a quarterly basis. And is this like a no charge type deal, or, because I don't think we get
I'm not- do you
bills
pay-
on it,
do
you know?
pay? I'm not sure.
And I don't think they get
No.
bills on it either, so, and that's fine, you know, we're fine with it, I'm sure they are, but I think really the big concern was the water quality and where, you know, because if it was part of a regular district, then it would fall under the regular DOH.
We're happy to have an intermunicipal agreement with the town that covers all of the concerns regarding that property and its use of water.
Right. Okay,
And, you know,
Yeah.
that does not need to be tied to this district.
right,
You know,
they were, you know, they used bottled water for everything, and they just, because they were, you know, they were a well, then as per this handshake agreement back whenever it was.
It goes back many years.
Yeah, it goes back a lot of years.
Yeah.
Back early 90s,
Right,
late
I think so.
1980s or something.
Yes, I think it's over 20 years.
Yeah,
But
so-
we're happy to clean that all up, have a paper, a document that memorializes everything.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes,
Yep.
happy to do that.
Right.
We don't think it needs to be tied to this IMA regarding the district.
Right.
But whatever protections and concerns you had, we're happy to
Yeah,
address.
because we really don't want to buy, you know, Poland Spring or bottled water and
I
provide
don't blame
that,
you.
so, you know, if we don't have to.
I had two other questions.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary, I didn't mean to,
I know, you just jumped right in there because it's Derek, I know.
all right, I'll shut up.
The Village of Curacao resolution, it's number 7A, the base connection fee. That listed very specific square footage, 2,500 square feet and a maximum of 3,000 square feet.
Yeah, we're going
But,
to,
here you just said a residential unit. And then piggyback on that is, on the last page of the resolution, letter E, it said, mother-daughter dwellings are considered 2 units. Even though currently, right now, it's not an accessory apartment, it's a mother-daughter. You're
Well,
still
mother-
counting it as 2,
yes, mother-daughters are really two units. It's really a two-family. Because if it has a kitchen, if it has a bathroom, if it has bedrooms, if it's, you know, separate facilities, it's really a two-family. The fact that relatives are living in it doesn't necessarily change it.
so if somebody currently has a mother-daughter,
Is-
you're going to pay for one hookup free, or you're going to allow 2 hookups if they do it within the 6 months?
For existing
Yes.
single-family residents.
Existing single-family. So the mother-daughter would have to pay the $25,000 hookup for the daughter portion or the mother portion, or whatever.
Well, we hate to
Okay.
think of it in those terms. We don't want to penalize mothers or daughters, but let me look into that,
Okay.
okay? And that's for existing. Now, does your zoning code define mother-daughters in a way differently than a two-family?
I don't,
Be adjusted at all, it's just always in the accessory.
yeah, it's more like an accessory in apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't believe the accessory, well, I know the accessory apartment law doesn't address utilities.
No,
All right, but it's more akin to an accessory apartment
Yeah,
yes.
under your
Right.
terminology.
under our.
Which we don't consider a two-family
No.
for our own purposes.
I
Yeah.
will look into that for you. And
Thank you.
I'll provide a response hopefully before the next meeting.
All right, thank you.
Did you have you said you had two.
Well, the other one was the size of the house.
Oh, okay.
The 3,000, maximum of 3,000 square feet.
Yeah,
and-
we're going to modify our resolutions based upon what I provided to the board tonight. Okay, because that needs to be reflected in the resolution.
Right,
But that's-
because
but
tonight
That's
you said.
our proposal for going forward, yes.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Mike, anything else?
No, I'm good.
The
Thank
only
you.
other thing I'll comment on is that I will remain steadfast in feeling that these residents deserve 4 years of free water. I just feel they've been burdened, already, and the infrastructure that they've invested in is probably anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000. And if you're looking at a water bill that's over a year, that's maybe $1,200. You're really just about at 50% of what their infrastructure is. So I understand we could the 2 year if you were hooking up after, but if these residents have had no water, the two of them that don't have any water, I just think it's important to them that they be compensated in some way.
Absolutely, we'll take that under advisement.
Okay. Anyone else?
I do have, it looks like Mr. and Mrs. Dixler that signed up.
Thank you, Mr. Prada.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. We're here again.
How are you?
State your name and where you live.
My name is Michelle Dixler. I live at 45 Old Country Road.
Thank you.
And Mr. Trotter presented a lot of information, so I haven't quite absorbed all of it, but I did come with a couple of questions. And one was, once the Curious Joel aqueduct pipeline that's being brought from the Ashokan Reservoir, New York City Water, is completed, what happens to the Brenner wells? And where are we then getting our water?
From what we've been told, Councilman McGinn and I had a conversation with Mr. Saganin, is that those wells will be disconnected from the village water, but it will still,
Will be, yeah, they will be, they'll be on reserve and not
Right.
being used. Because as per the, and I'm not going to speak to the agreement that the DEP has, the city DEP has with the village, but they have to maintain a backup water supply for in case of equal volume, in case the city has to cut it off for some reason, like they are right now when they're doing, a new repairs the aqueduct and stuff like that. So, we've been advised that those wells will only be used in case of emergency or to back up that system.
Okay, speaking of cases of emergency, I heard Mr. Trotter say something about that not only will they disconnect our current wells, but they will destroy them in a sense. They're removing a section of pipe. That concerns me, because what happens if, you have to reconnect if something happens to another water source? I mean, why not
valid
just,
point.
why
You just
not
cap
just
it.
disconnected, cap
Yep.
it, or whatever? I mean, I have had volunteered to have instruments in my well for the last 15 years or so, and so I was doing that, and it's been going down, but it is still functional. And the thought of it being destroyed by having a piece of pipe removed, I don't understand why that has to be done. It sounds like we're going to make you totally dependent on something else.
Totally
So
understand your
I'd
point.
like that addressed
We'll
also.
we'll have our council address that.
Okay. As I said, I currently have water, but I am legally a two-family house. So then do I have to fall under this other rule that if I want to have two connections, it would cost $25,000 to do so?
As far as I'm concerned, absolutely not. But we have to come to an agreement on that. Yeah, I don't think it would be fair if you got charged.
Okay, so something perhaps will be in the
that's what we're
final
gonna-
agreement.
That's what we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm glad to hear that things are speeding up. So that's for number, you mentioned number 24. Is that also number 34, I believe? So we got two houses, Pastrano, Nelsie
And-
Pastrano, and
and
Libby Bickle,
Libby
who
Bickle.
have no water.
Right.
So it's both of those that will be getting it. When he says getting it
Presently,
soon, what does that mean?
as soon as the water main is completed, which, Mr. Prada, what was the anticipation completion date? February?
Of the main,
Yeah,
January, late January.
okay.
Yeah, one of those houses has water.
You have to
Yes,
speak into
that-
the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one of those homes has temporary water supply already via the tank truck there. We've been in discussions with the other property owner about providing her with water, but those discussions are ongoing.
Okay.
All right, whatever that means. Okay. All right, my well is at least 15 feet below where it used to be, the water level. And that has been caused, we believe, by the
Brenner Wells.
Brenner pumping. Am I then one of the distressed individuals or not?
Well, I understood when we met with Mr. Zegadin, you have water right now.
Yes, I do.
And his thought process, and Mike, correct me if I misinterpret anything, his thought process here was that you have water. Once the aqueduct is hooked up, those Brenner wells will obviously recharge a little bit. So if you were yielding 6 gallons per minute and now your well's down 15 feet and maybe you're only yielding 4 gallons per minute, you still have water. So he didn't feel hooking you up to the main warranted getting free water when you already have water. But Mike pressed him, and it was basically said, well, if that well does go dry, then that person should be entitled to free water.
Well, that well is going to
And
be...
the free hookup.
Right.
Yeah, the free hookup is definitely something. I mean, we would do it within the 6 months. I'm not going to pay $25,000 to...
Well, you wouldn't have to pay $25,000 if you went dry in the future.
Really?
Yeah, so if 2
No.
years from now, you went, and I'm not going to throw the number out there because I don't know if we're putting a...
There's
a
no time frame on it.
Yeah, if you went dry, then you would be connected to the water district being established by the village, and you'd get the 2 years of free water. Am I correct in saying
And what
that?
would
Okay.
be the process? I mean, this has been an ongoing thing. We've been coming here for quite a while.
Yeah, no,
and
we
I'd like
know.
to be done with it, as I'm sure all of you would.
Yeah, we're working diligently too to make sure this gets,
When you say what would be the process, so if your well goes
I
dry,
mean, would I have to go through...
have to- they'd probably-
petition KJ?
no, they'd
and-
probably have to hook up a tanker.
Yeah,
You
if mistakes like that happen, you could call the Village of Kirschville Water Department or their government services, let them know. Obviously, you're a Town Monroe resident, you can let us know, and we would assist you on your behalf with the village to move that along.
May I make a point? At this point, it's all conjecture, but I think we can put that in the IMA agreement of exactly what steps to be taken. That's just a good idea. Right now, everything is preliminary. So once we get an IMA agreement, that would be, I think, a very good idea to put in.
Okay,
And in order to speed the process for them to hook you up, maybe we could add like another 2 free years of water if you don't get hooked up
And if I
in a
choose to
certain
do
period of
it,
time.
Sick of cattle
if I
discussion.
choose to do it within the first 6 months, I can.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's a good thing to have municipal water rather than a precarious well.
You
even
just
if-
won't get the free water if you do it.
I understand.
Okay.
Well, we're basically 2 people there, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right,
But I heard your husband takes very long showers. So.
he's very clean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dixler, the long shower guy.
I'm certainly not going to contradict my wife. Just a question. We don't have a swimming pool. Eventually, our property is going to, of an age, we might move somewhere else. A lot of people do have swimming pools. Could we use, at that time, once we were hooked into the system, could our own water well, which we would not be using for drinking or commingling, be used to fill a pool and uses like that, which would not damage anyone else's system? Is that a problem?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. That's probably the
Because
Department of Health.
that is a real.
Listen, it's a good point.
One second. Now you're presupposing what somebody else is gonna do on that.
Well, I might decide next year I want a pool.
Well,
I'm just saying,
Well, can
you know,
always
and a
do it. I
pool.
mean, you can always have a tanker coming for,
But I have plenty of good water coming from the ground.
Okay.
So let's say I certainly not going to mix my water with
If you're-
with a water system, but I should be able to use that water to fill
If you're-
a pool.
I mean, realistically, yeah, go ahead.
Well, what's
Rick.
gonna happen is that in the intermunicipal agreement, if your well has to be disconnected from the home, that means you would probably have to have a specific single setup, but we're gonna have to put that in a municipal agreement. In other words, what you're asking for is a specific that we haven't reached yet, that we will have to look at the intermunicipal agreement.
All right, but I don't want to destroy my well. Maybe
Nobody-
it's easy
nobody
to
said-
disconnect it at this point and put it, and at
Nobody
some
said
point in the
anything about
future use it for another purpose. That's
That-
all I'm saying.
I understand that.
Totally, and we understand. I think
That's a
we're
suppose
in-
we have to put into the municipal agreement.
Well, I think I'm thinking it, I'm suggesting it.
All right, and then it's accepted as great suggestion.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
That's all for public comment.
Anyone else? No?
Okay.
Okay. Anyone on the board have to comment anymore? All right, I'll make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing regarding Old Country Road Water District for January 22nd at 7:10 PM.
You need a second for that?
Yeah.
Cologne, a second?
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Mr. Potter. I'd be grateful if you came back with 5 years of free water, just so you know.
And enough for
God.
With respect to the public hearing for the ambulance, there was a mistake on my part last meeting, so that contract is done. We just need authorization for council to approve the changes that were made.
That's a continuation of hearing of
No,
ambulance and fire protection?
Yeah,
And you need a second?
we just need, we don't need to open the continuation.
We just need to
We just need to
finalize.
close it, number one, and then finalize the agreement.
All right, you close it.
Is that just for the ambulance, or is it for fire?
For
or
both, it's for both.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I will second.
All right.
Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay.
All right, I'll make another motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign the agreements in a form as approved by council for both contracts.
Cologne, a second?
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. It's done on purpose, Rick.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, on to the audit of claims. So we have an escrow abstract, which is abstract 19-014, for a total of $13,639.34. So we need a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question, provided there's 3 signatures. There
I
should be
believe,
now.
I believe there are.
Yep.
Yep, call the
Councilman
question.
Scancarello was down there, and
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Now we need a resolution for abstract 19018 from the general fund containing checks 24927 through 25057 for $403,883.16,
I'll make that motion.
provided they were approved with 3
With signatures, right.
I'll second that.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Abstracts are done. No minutes for this month. Bond resolution for the financing of a highway truck. So, okay, so I will read the resolution as followed. Please take notice that on December 9th, 2019, the Town Board of the Town of Monroe and the County of Orange, New York, adopted a bond resolution entitled Bond Resolution of the Town of Monroe, New York, adopted December 9th, 2019, authorizing the acquisition of a truck for use by the Highway Department, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $275,000, appropriating said amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds of the town in the principal amount not to exceed $275,000 to finance said appropriation. An abstract of such bond resolution concisely stating the purpose and effect thereof being as follows. First, authorizing said town to acquire a truck, including apparatus and equipment, used in connection therewith for use by the Highway Department, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof, including preliminary cost and cost incidental thereto, and the financing thereof is $275,000. Appropriating said amount for such purpose and stating the plan of financing includes the issuance of bonds of the town in the principal amount of not to exceed $275,000 to finance said appropriation, and the tax levy and the levy of a tax upon all the taxable real property within town to pay the principal of said bonds and interest thereof. Second, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $275,000 bonds of the town pursuant to local finance law of the state of New York, the law, in quotations, to finance said appropriation. Third, determining and stating the period of probable useful applicable to the purpose for which said bonds are authorized to be issued is 15 years. The proceeds of said bonds and any body anticipation notes issued in anticipation thereof may be applied to reimburse the town for expenditures made after the effective date of this bond resolution for the purpose of which said bonds are authorized, and the proposed maturity of said bonds will exceed 5 years. Fourth, determining that said bonds and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds and the renewals of said bond anticipation notes shall be general obligations of the town and pledging to their payment the faith and credit of the town. Fifth, delegating to the supervisor the powers and duties as to the issuance of said bonds and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds and the renewals thereof and other related powers. And sixth, determining that the bond resolution is subject to a permissive referendum dated December 9th, 2019, Monroe, New York, for the town clerk, Mary Ellen F. Beams. Okay. So that essentially is the resolution.
Cologne, a second.
Second, any discussion? Council, I just want clarification on one point. It's obvious we can pay this off at a rate that is quicker than that the said bonds authorized to be issued is 15 years. And the proposed maturity of the bonds will exceed 5 years. We're not, I mean, if we want to pay it off after 5 years, we're okay.
Right.
Right, okay. I just want to make sure of that. Okay. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Thank you very much. Item 6.2, the town board meeting dates. The meeting dates are as follows. Be it resolved that the town board of Town of Monroe discuss and approve the proposed 2020 town board meeting dates. January the 8th and the 22nd. Those are actually Wednesdays. Due to a couple of conflicts, we needed to have it on the 8th and the 22nd. Brian Nugent is available on Wednesdays in January. But there was a holiday, and one of us was going to be away for the 6th, which would have been a regular meeting. February the 3rd and the 10th. Obviously, the following week after the 10th is the President's Weekend.
Usually we have one meeting that month, don't
No.
we?
March 2nd and 16th, April 6th and 20th, May 4th and 18th, June 1st and 15th, July 20th, August 3rd and 31st. The 31st will be essentially the second meeting we would have had in September. It's a day before, and because of where Labor Day fell, I felt it was in the best interest to do it that way. September 21st, October 5th, October 19th, November 2nd, November 16th, bless you,
God bless you.
and December 7th. So we will approve these at reorg, but I just want everybody to know that's tentative right now. If anybody has any questions or
Is
concerns?
that August 31st? Is that Labor Day weekend?
No, it's the weekend, the Monday after is Labor Day weekend. That's why I would have crunched the
Okay.
September ones. Okay. We have a new ethics form, which there are highlights, if you would have read in yellow, that were some minimal changes. So we need to approve the updated Town of Monroe Annual Code of Ethics Certification Form and the disclosure statement to be consistent with the 2019 Town of Monroe Ethics Code adopted March 18, 2019. These forms will replace the current forms.
I'll make that motion.
Cologne, a second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scankerall, aye.
Begin I.
Okay, so moved.
You want them dated for 2020 or 19?
They'll be dated for 2020.
20?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Okay, is there a Mr. Joel Mann of Brock and Mann here, or anyone representing the firm? No? Okay, so, Mr. Mann has a new project called Monroe Commons on Ninninger Road, which is a 400,000 square foot project, 4-story plus basement building for retail, office space, and a hotel. The application fee under the 2019 fee schedule would be approximately $50,500. Mr. Mann would like to have the project charge a fee using the net square footage instead of the gross square footage, which would bring the fee down to $19,000. We currently have a law that says the gross square footage. So I don't feel the need to obviously change the law because of this. And that's where that sits. Originally, he had a different approach, which I'm not going to get into, but that wouldn't have had us to, required us to change the law. It would have just been a fee schedule adjustment. So, council, anything to add?
No.
Okay. So, if anybody has any other comments?
I mean, I would suggest the applicant, if they would like to come up with a payment plan or some type of other, something, that goes along the milestones with how they proceed through the planning board process. I think that's something we would certainly look at, but,
Yeah.
they'd have to make application to do so and
Yep.
take it from there.
I would agree with you, Councilman McGinn. I think some kind of
Schedule.
other kind of accommodation, since it is such a large project, We do need some commercials, rateable type projects in the town of Monroe, so I'd be willing to look at other options.
Would we have to, in other words, if we're going to have these kind of fees, and scheduling a payment over time, I guess,
We just
As
have,
a-
we would just
we
have
would
to
have to
adjust.
adjust the law?
No, we would just have to adjust the fee schedule.
Okay, all right, I'm amenable to that.
So, yeah, I think that's reasonable for a large-scale project
Right.
to do so, and other municipalities do the same, so I didn't see that as being a problem, but the gross is the gross.
It's what the law states at this
Right.
time, and to change it gets extraordinary, so,
Public hearings.
yeah, and it's actually going to delay his program, so if we can do something with the, as far as a payment plan
Well,
or
let him
schedule.
request that. He hasn't requested that.
Well, then he has to request it, I mean, he
Yeah.
can't just,
Right. And now would be the time to do, because I'm working on the fee schedule, because that
Oh,
was
that's
what we
right.
worked up
Yeah.
last year.
okay, so he can contact Mary Bingham at the following number.
And being at monroe.new.org.
Down Mary Bingham 100, okay, 800. All right.
Okay. Next item, road dedication Walton Terrace. Is anybody here?
The residents,
I know there's a couple of residents here.
yes,
Is anybody here to
willing to speak?
make a presentation? No? Well, notice how those big burly men kowtow.
They're pushing out of the chair, go up there!
You first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our.
Just state your name
Name
and where
and-
you live.
Gina Connington, and I live on Walton Terrace. We have been before the board for many years about our road, Walton Terrace, and bringing up it being dedicated. And it's been through a big process, and we've never had it resolved. So, we've been in contact with the board since it's kind of changed over. So we just kind of wanted to bring it up again and hope that, you'll consider it now.
Okay.
So I had a conversation with our highway and our engineer. And our highway, initially, part of the hesitation in the past was the actual pitch of the road.
Right,
That's correct.
Okay. Our highway superintendent said he can deal with that.
right.
Okay? So our engineer said there's some minor improvements that needed to be made.
Right.
And I think I got an email that stated, when I had said that, I thought the email said that the residents would be open to that.
We would be.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So as long as we're all on the same page now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to speak to John. We'll get things in the process. We'll work with our engineer, and we'll try to get this done, hopefully by the middle of next year,
That would be great. I mean, we've been maintaining it, and, we've been filling cracks, we've been keeping up with the road just for our own safety and our own, just to keep it up. So hopefully they'll find that as well when they come to see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's fine. Anybody else have anything to say? Gentlemen, you want to come up and speak? Or?
You see, they're running. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for coming down.
Thanks.
Mr. Supervisor, we also had a concern that the residents wanted a stop sign. Would that be something the
That was
highway
already,
department?
that was already put in.
It was,
Yeah.
okay, it's the highway
Yeah,
department.
we got right on that. Mrs. Coddington was all over my case about that, so.
No, this has been going on for a long time. In the previous administration, they would not budge on that, and they had the highway, it was a mess. So I'm glad that things have changed.
All right, so we'll get it rolling. Is there a point person?
Well, Anthony Amoroso,
Okay.
Anthony's still there?
just working tonight.
Okay,
Or Joe Frombeck, the one who sent.
The one who sent me the email, okay.
Okay.
So I'll put both of them on the link, and then they'll report to all you.
Thank you.
All right, now
Thank
get
you.
those girls home, go to bed, do your homework.
yeah, do your homework.
Listen, I'd like to wear those headphones too while I'm here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have
Oh, vacation request.
numerous vacation carryover requests. So, council, do we have to do these individually, or can we bulk them all together?
Welcome. You make a general approval.
I would suggest doing them individually.
Okay, that's it, yeah, that's what I thought.
Really?
Yep. All right, so we have 5 vacation requests, and let me poll the board quick. Does anybody have any issues with carrying these over? The only issue I have is I would like them used within the first quarter.
I think that's good.
Fair enough.
How,
Okay.
are they, how long is the
The longest
longest?
is 5 days.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. Okay, so the first one is Noreen Sweeney has requested to carry 5 vacation days from 2019 to 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Make that motion.
I'll
second.
second.
Mary got that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Councilwoman
I
Big
thought we were
beat you
gonna
that
do them
one.
all together, no?
No, we have to
Let's
do
do
them
one at a
individually.
time.
You just said.
I thought we just were doing.
Well, if you would stop talking, maybe we could get out of here.
Well, hurry up, I mean, you know.
Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Go on.
Cardone, aye.
Scarecrow, aye.
Begin aye.
Okay, so moved. Second one is Finance Department, Roberta McBride requested to carry over 5 vacation days from 2019 to 2020.
Kelowna second.
Begin second for,
Well,
Discussion.
Cologne made the motion. You
Made the
seconded
motion.
for discussion.
it's contingent upon her making those cupcakes for the St. Patrick's Day party that she made
Okay.
last year.
Well, and that's in the first quarter,
That's,
all right.
that's in the first
And that's in the
quarter.
first
so-
quarter.
Fall, yeah.
Yes.
Put that in the minutes, Val. please. All right.
Now, is this a quid pro quo?
Call
That was a
the
good point,
call the
But I'm not
question.
getting out of it, so it's,
Bingham, aye.
no,
Kelowna.
I'll rescind my second on that.
It's a
Just go with a
suggestion.
straight second and no
Okay.
comment, and
Cardone,
God
aye.
forbid,
Scarecrow, aye.
begin aye.
Okay, the third is Senior Center Director Emery Morris requested to carry over 3 vacation days.
I'll make that motion.
That's second. Kelowna second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scarecrow, aye.
Begin aye.
Okay, the fourth is Maintenance Webster Johnson requested to carry 2 vacation days from 2019 to 2020.
Kelowna make the motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scarecrow, aye.
Begin aye.
Okay, then we have Maintenance. Victor Thompson requested to carry over 4 vacation days from 19 to 20.
I'll make that motion.
Kelowna second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scarecrow, aye.
Begin aye.
And then there's a final one. Ben Maldonado requested to carry over 2 vacation days from 2019 to 2020.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Kelowna,
second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Kelowna, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scarecrow, aye.
Begin aye.
Okay. And then one other item for new business, which was added because it just came across my desk at 4:05 this afternoon. So it's the engagement letter for the audits going forward for 2019, 20, and 21. And the bottom line associated with it are the costs. So for 2019, it is 41,500, I believe. Yep, 41,500. For 2020, it's 43,000. And for 2021, it's 44,500. That includes the town justice, the audit of their financial statements. So, in the past, we have paid 35 and 5, and then it went up incrementally from there. But we're looking at, a minimum increase of, let's say, 1,500 and change from the initial year to what we've initially started at. And I will say that we've caught up. They understand our system. They've done a great job when they've been on site.
Yep.
And since it's a professional service, we do not have to go out for bid. So I would like to make a motion. No, I'm sorry, somebody else got to make the motion.
I'll make
You
the
have to
motion.
Authorize me to execute the agreement.
I'd make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement for,
PKF O'Connor Davies.
PKF O'Connor Davies.
And it's a 3-year agreement.
For 3 years from what, 2020, 21, and 22?
No,
19,
19, 20, and 21. Yes, I got it right there.
Okay.
Huh?
Yep.
I will second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Anything from the floor? I know we have to go into executive session briefly to discuss litigation.
Public comment?
Public comment?
John Deschner?
Come on, Johnny Bree.
Johnny Debris. Once again, water and sewer. I was talking to Mayor Dwyer, Neil Dwyer, Veterans Day, and he seems to be getting ahead of ahead of things. Right now we have a reservoir and one well, and he says they're putting in another well. So he seems to be on top of things. I haven't seen anything with sewer, and unfortunately, I missed the meeting last week, and Supervisor Newhouse was here, and I think he mentioned something about pumping sewerage into the Hudson River. Did he mention that?
Yes.
It's been on their longevity plan.
The longevity plan,
It's
yeah.
years down the road though, right?
Yeah.
But, let me say something about Mayor Dwyer. I want to compliment him for the banners with the soldiers in the middle of town going up in the lamppost. That's a great idea. So
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Very nice.
Totally agree.
yeah, I don't
He's doing
see
a great
any-
job there.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I don't see any planning. I mean, I don't see. Shouldn't we be breaking ground here?
For
For what?
what?
Expand the sewer system.
Oh, that's a county thing. That's got nothing to do with us
I know,
essentially.
I know,
Yeah.
but.
So you got to
but
complain to the
shouldn't-
county.
Shouldn't you
When's the next
talk to
sewer
them?
meeting?
I've been at the
Yeah, I
county
know.
sewer meetings.
I don't want to go up there. I mean,
No, listen, I've been at the county sewer
Yeah.
meetings, and there's been discussion going on for the longevity and the capital improvements.
you know what you
and-
got to tell them?
A lot of things.
Instead of counting bedrooms, start counting rear ends.
That's good.
They are aware of that.
Yeah, right. So, now the other thing is, once they get, there's no way of taking a census. I mean, 2020 is a census year, isn't it? Now, can they get now, the places on Energy Drive probably won't even be full then. But there's other places that maybe take a census. Now, the point I wanted to, last week I brought up the point, you got the state specs, and I said, the plan is 4 per unit, is 1,700 units, and when in reality there's going to be 8, 9, or 10 people in there. Now, in a situation like that, where it shows a spec of 4, how does the sewer bill come in? For 4? Or does it come in
No,
for
it
10?
By gallons.
comes in for one unit.
So they're only gonna get charged for 4?
No, it goes by how much usage.
No, not the
No,
sewer.
No,
No?
it's by the
Sewer
building.
buys
By
by
the
the
building.
building,
Yeah.
for one
So
unit.
if you have one building and 20
Yeah,
people
but
are
each
living in it, they
building
get
has so
charged
many
this.
units, and each one is,
Are you talking about apartment buildings?
well, on
Basically.
Energy Drive.
Well, that would be each unit, but they're not going to count the people in the
Yeah,
unit.
but they're gonna be charged less than they normally would be if it said that each unit would have 8 to 9 or 10 people in it. Wouldn't they?
Yeah, they don't-
Huh?
It's not meters like water, like going
No,
out.
but I'm saying-
You know what I mean? But it is metered at, they look at each town's usage, and that's how they kind of get there, that they have metered, not individual people's
Yeah, but it
usage.
just seems to me that we're gonna be paying for those other 6 people.
Do you mean the expansion of the plant, or
No,
whatever
well,
comes in
no,
the future? Yeah,
The county is
yeah.
the major municipality. So, I mean, it's a bit unfair, I think, on who's gonna get charged.
So here's the issue, and I've said this multiple times at meetings.
Yeah,
The old sewer district agreement for Orange County Sewer District Number 1
yeah,
spreads the costs of any improvements
Yeah.
across the whole district.
I know, yeah.
It's an antiquated agreement. We all understand that, we all know that. The issue is that that agreement has to be disbanded, and it has to be rewritten. And at that point,
Yeah,
if there's additional 2 million gallons of capacity
yeah,
that is available through the expansion,
yeah,
that if you're taking up 400,000 of it, you should be charged 20%. And it's simple. So if your development, let's say, takes up 20%, you should be charged 20% of the capital improvements to get that additional $2 million,
yeah.
2 million gallons in capacity.
How do you measure that?
I just explained it. That's how you measure it.
Huh?
I just explained how you measure it.
How?
You have 2 million gallons of additional capacity based on the expansion.
Yeah, and you divide it up.
And if a certain developer has 400,000 gallons a day that he's required based on the calculations, then he's required to pay 20% of those capital improvements.
You measure the water going through the system.
You measure water going through the entire system,
Yeah, right.
not each individual
Okay.
unit.
So if you measure the water's gotta go out the sewer. So
Yeah,
that's-
no. You're just measuring the capacity of what is going through the sewer plant.
Yeah,
You're not measuring water, it's the capacity of sewerage.
yeah, well, so you guarantee me that I'm not gonna be paying for,
I'm not guaranteeing you anything. I wish I could, I can't.
all right, that's it. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. Again, Johnny Debris, you hit the nail on the head. It's about metrics, measuring things. And it still bothers me, and brought many times, that 446 permits that we've flipped over to the LLCs, they were primarily set up for a household of 4.5 individuals. And they were going over to, we know where they're going because we threatened with lawsuits from the LLCs claiming we were anti-Semitic. We denied or held them up. So we know where they're going. There's no question about it. We just need a better way of measuring this thing. And it's difficult to measure sewer. I mean, you measure the water going in, and you assume that, you know, the plant gets filled up, but how are you going to assume there's no way really to meter that? But you need the accurate head count, as John so eloquently put, the tail count also. So,
Yep. I mean, the county, the county has a fairly accurate accounting of how much comes in from each municipality.
okay.
That I know.
That I can guess.
And Tony probably could, since he's been going to these meetings all the time up there, they know where the usage is. So that's not really at issue, you know what I mean? At issue is how you, as Tony said, if you know, there has to be expansion, then that expansion has to be borne on those that are expanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tony's idea is 100% right.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are putting the burden on the system.
Yeah.
Not people
They have
like
to
Johnny
pay.
Debris, he's not doing it.
No,
And
But
whether,
in the present condition, he's going to pay for it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's what, and Steve Newhouse, he knows he's on top of this thing. And he realizes also,
He is.
last time we got to change the system anyway because we're running out of streams and rivers to pollute. So we got to go back to recycling. We got to get that concept in. It's just, and it costs more initially, but upfront, it's the only way you're going to go.
Right.
That's
Well,
my
of
concern with
course,
the new
yeah,
year.
how you treat it has to be treated at a way that you're, is purifying it more since it's going to the Hudson or wherever it's going into.
Needs to be really, as I told them last time, needs to be not just, it needs to be totally treated, then back into the aquifer, okay? So you're recharging your depleted aquifer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ward.
That's all that's signed up.
Okay. We have to go into executive session to discuss litigation. Prior to doing that, I just want to, give a shout out to our highway department who did a phenomenal job once again, weathering the storm and making sure our roads were safe. So thank you very much to all the men and our highway superintendent.
That was a tough snowstorm.
Yeah.
Tough storm with all
They
the
were,
ice.
I think they were on 48 hours straight.
Yeah, because of the ice and everything, so
Yeah.
it was a tough go.
It's a crap.
Great job. So I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation, pending litigation.
I'll second it.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, thanks. Fine, go. All right, make a motion to return to a regularly scheduled meeting from executive session.
I will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, there's no further business to discuss, so I'd like to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. We'll see you back here on January 8th for our reorg meeting. Anybody else want to say anything?
I want to just say the same thing. Everybody have a happy holiday and drive safe wherever you're going.
Rick? Oh, he's speechless.
I just keep getting in trouble. That's why I don't want to say anything, But, okay, everybody have a healthy and happy holiday season, and that includes all of the above, I think.
Okay. Sal?
Health, happiness, enjoy your family, make memories.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank the residents for another great year here on the board and for putting us back in office, myself and Sal, of course, and
Yes.
and thank the town workers for everything they've done this year. They've, always rise to the challenge, and certainly appreciate that. And we just wish everyone happy holidays
All right, thank you.
and a healthy, happy New Year.
Okay.
Good night, Monroe.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye?
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.